forget that this is the book that is dedicated to all the girls who watch Once Upon a Time for the Scaly Lizard Man? How did I forget this? Because iconic. Oh, hi. Welcome to a vlog in which it's sponsored by my own Twitch channel, I guess. If you see Minecraft and never look at my glasses, no you don't. No you don't. So, a month ago was exactly the day that I'm filming the intro for this, which is November 3rd. On October 4th was my stream affiliate anniversary, which is when you can start making money on Twitch. It was my anniversary of that on the 4th of October, so I did a 24-hour stream. There were rewards in which you make me do things. The joke that one of the people, 4 people donated subs, or if I finally got together to finally build this and get some work done, and it's not even up behind me and attack me. Anyways, there are 4 people who, yes, did subs or gifted subs to talk about. And the rewards for that was make me read Monster Smut for every 5, which is very funny. It's very funny because first person Summer, which is the reason why we're wearing this, because this was a present from him. Summer, one of the people who will be linked below, 2 of them will because they stream. He hilariously went okay, haha. Then after I made him stay up really late to play video games with me, he gave me a bunch of bits, which the make me do thing for that was a punishment. And just made me write. He made me write. He made a joke about make me read Monster Smut. Okay, you do that on the break, and then did that. It's so rude. Anyways, he's the first one because he did himself, and I think 2 gifted, so he's not part of the 5. Because other people did this whole 5. But he gets shout out from this. The first person who gave 5 Ed. I wasn't gonna do this order because like why would I? But then it makes sense to do it in order of the people because it's only 3 people. 4 books. The first one is the other one that's gonna be linked below. That's Jen of Jen Reviews. Also does a lot of bookish stuff and talks about books a lot. Right? Clip.
I have one that I really want to win. It's not this one. This is the one I don't want. No! Okay, fine. I guess I'll continue the series I haven't liked in like years.
Yes, I clipped it, and in said clip, I obviously am disappointed. I haven't watched it back since today, so it's been like a month, but I remember being disappointed at the moment. And then after the 24 hours, after I took a nap for 6 hours, I recognized there's a benefit for it being hoarded by the dragon, which is the one we are starting with because it's the one that's already downloaded on Kindle. So we love that. And that is, if you don't know, one of my favorite Monster Smuts was just a sentence by me. Anyways, was Stalked by the Kraken. Infamous part of my lore to the point where Summer wrote a song called Kraken Love because of it. That's just a fun fact I wanted to bring up. Anyways, I really liked that book. And then, this is one of the sequels. This is book 4 in that series. And I have been pushing it off for over a year. Reason number 1 is that, every book, I've also read the novellas. I think there was a werewolf and a sea monster novella, 2 separate novellas. And then there was the basilisk one, is the most recent one. And then the second one, well, the third one. Second one was, Gargoyle. And I felt mad to not liking all of those. So, there's a history of every single one after the first one I haven't liked, and then this one, which you may be able to tell from the cover. Pregnancy. Let me tell you the plot. I know the plot. Also, I should mention, I have read 3 pages of this already. For another thing, I thought I was gonna have to go and find the exact video of me playing Tiny Bookshop in which somebody redeemed Read Monster Smut out loud, and they chose this one. I thought I was gonna have to find that, but then I remembered vividly that Summer was so uncomfortable, because he was so uncomfortable that he clipped it to distract himself. I don't understand Summer either. So I have a clip of it already.
What is a CrossFit there? Even if my own butt is wells between my legs. Fuck, these side effects are potent with the dazzling way my body feels. I almost want to follow the sensation and say before a later day. Every time I feel desired and alive. But then I have to deal with the twisting craving too. Yeah, you got 2. We got 2, Maria. You got 2. Alright, I guess up my thighs starting trouble with me. Please, I beg. His eyes glow gold color, hot like a flame. You will tell me if anything I do hurts you. It's not a question, but a command. I'm not perfectly willing to agree to anything to feed the need he's inspired. With speed, I can hardly track. He grabs my hair and his mouth is on mine. My gas turns into a groan. He tastes like cinnamon and a scent of campfire. Alright.
That I can just throw in. So that's how I know within like the first 5 pages is Smut, because I had to, like, it was like me trying to find Smut. I just had to turn the page a few times. Anyway, this is about a girl named Katerina. I know this because every time I see her name, I think of Catherine from the Vampire Diaries because her birth name is Katerina Petrova. Anyways, I think his name's Kalos, something like that. Anyways, she for some reason decides to steal from a dragon. You know, I will give this in Dragon's Heart Gold in this. We love it. So, she goes to steal from this dragon. He catches her to get free. She agrees to, right, we love that, I guess. And then time passes, and whoopsie-daisy, she's pregnant. And hear me out, I think this is just a horror to me. I tried to steal from a creature, and to get out of it, I am forced, the little bit that I did read, it gave, him making sure it's kind of consensual, I guess. but it's still like power imbalance I don't like, where she has to bang this dragon to get out of a horrible situation, which she does, probably plans to never see him again, ends up being pregnant with this stranger dragon child. Yeah, this is a horror to me, and I don't want to read it. And this is why I'm actually fine with reading it. Because, or fine that I won the wheel. Like, am I annoyed because the Minotaur's one that's like right there, so close, right? Milking the Minotaur one. That's what I call it, but I know it's like Morning Glory Milking Farm or something like that. It was on the wheel and it was so close. And I will think about it every day. I just gotta make that a dedicated vlog at this point. Because that's the one that I'm wanting to read for forever. The fact that nor the two queer ones were picked is just homophobic to me, and that's fine. Anyways, like, am I annoyed by that slightly? Yes, but also it's like gonna actually make me read this book and actually pick it up. So I'm gonna do that. Also, I'm assuming this is gonna be a lot of skim reading. I don't want to read that. Hear me out. So I'm gonna do that. That's the first one. Hoarded by the Dragon. I'm gonna do that next. Thanks, Jen. I appreciate it. I'm pretty sure she just donated 5 subs and then almost immediately left. Iconic. Anyways, yeah. Also, I did realize today when I went to film this that 3 out of 4 are starts of series, or not starts, continuing series. Wrong thing. The one that's the start of the series is actually a reread. We'll talk about that when we get there. But anyways, yeah, this is the Dragon's What I'm scared to read. There is Dragon's What I'm excited to read. Okay, well, we just learn what blind means pause and what blind means stop recording in general. So I'm starting to go over this update. Ignore the hair. The only reason I finished Word by the Dragon is because I was cuddling the dog in bed, and literally when I take things in there to do that, it's literally just my water, my Kindle, and my blanket. Please be. So there's no like scrolling on phone or YouTube to distract myself. Which works great because I did finish it today. 2 stars. It kind of put me in a reading slump. Hear me out. I'm gonna start with positive, which is gonna be a negative about another thing. Better. Listen, I'm gonna complain about the writing, but still better writing than The Witcher season 4. Which is saying a lot. That's not saying anything actually. Because I have so many thoughts and opinions, and every day is a struggle not to make a 2-hour deep dive video about it. Okay. So just understand that I am blessing you not by giving that to you instead of continuing this. Between those two things, between Hoarded by the Dragon and The Witcher season 4, I actually went into like an actual slump, and it doesn't help that Bestie was playing video game, like I was playing Minecraft a lot with Bestie, and then that happened, and then I started writing my book because wait, there's no way I'm worse than that. And that's how we're here. Anyways, on top of the tropes and stuff in this book that we already talked about that I don't like, the premise is pretty simple. Her mentor, who kind of raised her from a late teen, is all like, I'm gonna die unless you do this job for me and steal for me. Doesn't tell her who's in the dragon's lair. Gets caught by the dragon pretty easily. Apparently, I think she was trying to steal was a fertility statue. And then she has a charm from that mentor to protect her pregnancy, which is a thing that witches do have in this universe. And so she does have this when all this is happening. It's just she was never informed that she has to charge it. So yeah. And then the whole like offering herself up to him type thing is because he's in heat right now. So anyways, about it. And in the morning, he's really rude to her. And so she goes off, and then like a day later, she realizes, not even a day later, it's later that day actually, she realizes she's pregnant. A week later, she's having repercussions because, as you can imagine, dragons need heat. So it's literally killing her slowly by hypothermia. Right? Again, horror. Also, I was like, the couple from the first book, the only one I've liked, which we'll talk about in a minute again because page links, is pregnant in this one, and she is 11 months pregnant. The horror. And all she can eat is sushi because he's a kraken. All she can eat in this one is spicy food. I like both those things, so I think I'd be fine. But both of them are like, I didn't like that thing beforehand. Anyways, Katarina, aka Rena is what he calls her, is pregnant. So she essentially moves in with him, but he's like a dangerous, scary guy who's one of the upper members of society, kind of, that rule all these organizations. And there's this other organization that the group that hired to steal that statue actually is one of his arch nemesis, kind of. And the father, or the leader of that group, is also the biological father of her best friend, but like he disowned her because she the shifter powers was not dormant in the mating process, which is not normal. So he disowned his wife and child. Shitty guy already. And so and he already has like one other bastard son, and then he has another son that he runs a company with. I don't know. So there's like stuff with that, and essentially it is over 370 pages of her in her head either repeatedly thinking one thing, and then the next chapter thinking something contradictory, and then going back to the original thing in the next chapter, right? But also him constantly pushing her away and being completely horrible to her as she is trying to set up boundaries, and then he pushes through all those boundaries. Also, I was thinking about it, and most of the sex scenes, like it was the second epilogue where they were going at it again, and I was like, she's all like, every time, every single one, he's all like, you will take what I will give you. I'm supposed to be like, and I'm like, he's already shitty to her. He says horrendous things to her multiple times, and then acts surprised when she's hurt by it. I swear to God, this man, I hate him so much. Anyways, so he's all like, hey, every time he's all like, hey, you will take what I give you, and it's a lot of him pushing her boundaries sexually as well. right? And her experience. And then a lot of times they're doing it because she is having pregnancy hormones and whatnot. And so it's kind of like a bunch of stuff in not her control, and he just takes advantage of it, and I'm not a big fan of that. Other things, there's a point brought up where he literally runs away at one point. He can run away whenever he wants and get away from this whole ordeal, but she's stuck with it. She's stuck. She's like, she has a choice near the very beginning to get rid of it. And she does it because she's like, this is my chance to have a family, because she is an orphan and all this stuff. But he is not great, and it constantly runs away, and then she just is like, they're like, hello, I'd like you to actually be here, and acts surprised when she wants him to be there at the end. I hate this book so much. And also a lot of it was setting up the next one, and I'm not sure I'm gonna like that one because it's his best friend and her best friend are part of the pairing, and I don't like that. Anyways, the other complaint, I already complained about the contradictory stuff that happened, but part of the reason I was able to notice that so much is the page length. I brought this up because I would see how long the series is. There's only one more after this, thank God. Thank God. And that one is over 400 pages, okay? It's like over 50 pages longer than this one. This one is 376, I believe, right? And so I was wondering how long the first one is, because that's like the only one I actually like. Though, for some reason, Amazon has that listed as like the 5th one. Wrong. Thank you very much. Anyways, I think it's because I own that one, maybe? I don't know. But anyways, no, that would not make sense, because I'm actually literally looking at the next one that we have to talk about, because I need to send it to my Kindle, and I own the first one of that series as well, and that's labeled as the first one, so it makes no sense why Amazon did that. It's not like Graph for Goodreads. I don't understand why it's like, it's books 2 through 4, and then, no, 2 through 5, and then, the first one, and then the 2 novellas that I've also already read. So literally I just have book 5. Anyways, that one was like 250 pages. I think I clocked it. I clocked that these books are kind of wild. So like some of the stuff that happens to them is kind of wild. And the first one specifically so is like more wild than the rest of them. And then also it's so much shorter, so like it's just like bang 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 bang. This one I had maybe 100, maybe 50 pages of it was sex scenes. Most of it like 320 pages of me just sitting here with the main character being contradictory and the love interest being horrible to her. And she's all like, but I still love him. And me just sitting there in pain, noticing these things and being able to nitpick all these issues because it's so slow in it. Like, yeah, the ending's a little wild, but also I was kind of bored because it was also predictable. Though I don't understand the setup for the second book because it didn't, or not the second book, the next book, because it didn't explain how her best friend marrying this other guy would save him from being hunted down by the law. I don't understand how that makes sense. It didn't explain it. Anyways, thanks, Jen, for making me read that. Summer made a joke about, I think I mentioned this, Summer made a joke about making me read monsters. Well, this one you did have to make me. At least it's done, and I only have one more to read in the series. Will I do it yet? Because I'm a completionist. Shush. Next one is Brewed in Magic, thanks to X Anime God X.
Do that. Get a highlight. It's fine. It's fine. We love spreadsheets. Brewed in Magic, we're not mad about. We can thank Vienna for this one, actually. Because the first in the series was a book club pick. And I liked it enough to read the next one.
Which I just called them anime. I just called them anime. I was making sure I got the name right. Yes. Who also did a bunch of bets at one point as well. So loves. So Brewed in Magic is the second book in the Falling for Fable series. The first book forged by Magic I read earlier this year for my own book club. This was before I had Kindle Unlimited, so I just bought it because it was like $2, right? On Kindle. So I do own it in February. It was I think it was the February book, or it was the March book. It may have been the March book. That makes sense. I bought it end of February, so it would be the March book. Which the theme was Monster Sweat. I let them vote and they voted for it. Okay. Don't look at me. Anyways, I don't know what this specific one is about. I know it takes place, the series, as far as I know, takes place on this magical island that is cut off from this warlord king who like controls and subjugates every other magical race to make him in charge, right? The first one was elf and orc, right? Anyways, they're kind of like cozy romantasy. Actually, this one may have been the cozy romance or cozy fantasy winner. There's a strong possibility. I think this may actually have been the cozy fantasy. That makes sense. Anyways, I'm gonna read the synopsis really quick. Of Brewed in Magic, and I will tell you what it's about based off of that. I know her name's Lila. I don't know what his name is yet. And has a traveling tavern. I can see the cozy vibes. Anyways, also I love her outfit on the cover. Kind of iconic. Kind of love it. Oh, okay. There was a dragon in this one. Also, I didn't talk about that aspect in Inspired by the Dragon. How I have, the other two will be mentioned. Literally, the other two are the other two books that I need to talk about, or connected to the other two books. The other two dragon smuts I've read, okay? And this one came out in, like, 2023, so I know for a fact that the Katie Robert Dragon Smut came out before that, because I read it in, like, 2021, 2022. So, I know for a fact. And I don't remember much about that book, but the similarities were enough where I was getting a side eye. That's a thing. Also, my least favorite dragon smut. It's not good. It's not good. Anyways, she has a pet dragon, right? I guess, that works in her traveling, or is a companion in her traveling tavern. She has a fun night with this strange man, stranger that she meets, and then, they get along great, and then he disappears in the morning, and it's to get to the festival first, like this important festival. I remember festivals being really important. The festival first because, you know what? My brain is clocking. My brain is remembering things about traveling taverns. There was a female main character in the first one with a traveling tavern, and she was like an important side character who kept on showing up, and everybody loved her. Right? She was like, it was this whole thing. Okay, I remember this. Okay, turns out he tries to get there first with his own traveling tavern. He's a direct competition, so it's like an enemies to lovers workplace type thing. But also there's like issues with supplies being stolen. She kind of is suspicious of him, and then sparks, and then icy barriers, and they must work together to save the festival. And also, I assume, anyways, sending to my Kindle right now. I think this series is only 4 books. Let me see if there's any novellas. There are not. The last one came out spring of this year. Anyways, this is now I'm getting recommended so many cozy monster smut fantasy series on Kindle. Can you calm down, Kindle? Calm down. Oh my god, which version of Grandmaster Demonic Cultivation is this? I get easily distracted. Oh, this is a deluxe version. Deluxe version, 3rd. Volume 3 hardcover. That doesn't come out until next year. That's a pretty cover. I'll give them that. I'm not gonna spend $25 on that, but it's a pretty cover. Anyways, my rambling brain. The ADHD is worth its run today. Anyways, Hoarding Dragon, 2 stars. Brood and Magic, next. They both had pointy ears in the cover, so I assume they're both elves. Literally, my decision making for this was one of them could be witches, but I didn't want both of them to be witches, and any other type of magical creature, the other one could be. Like, I didn't want one witch or one human. Like Rena in Her by the Dragon was a witch. I think most of the women except one of the novellas, are always witches, right? In that series. So it's like fine if one of them is a monster and one of them is a witch, even though that's not technically human. I did want, not both of the witches. Right? That makes sense. So that's my rule. So like, 2 elves, I guess count. My dinner is heating up, but I thought of the perfect word to explain why I don't like Roland. Don't like Colin, not Roland. I think it's Colin. I think it starts with a K. The male of interest in Horror by the Dragon. I think I figured it out. Or figured out a way to say it that makes sense. His reasoning for everything he does is that his wife and child, his mate and child, died thousands of years ago. Right? And so he pushes everything and everyone away until she comes into his life and fixes him with a magical vajayjay. Right? No. He pushes, including part of himself, away to not deal with pain. Essentially, the way he treats her is because this immortal, thousands and thousands of year old being wouldn't go to therapy until he goes to the main character from the first book, in which he magically therapizes him. Essentially, the version of therapy in this, right? But essentially, he won't go to therapy for thousands of years to heal his trauma until he realized the fact that was happening. He was hurting her because of this. Yeah, he went, oh shit, maybe I should do something about this. That's why I don't like him. He's the type of guy who says therapy doesn't work until he's forced into it, and then he's all like, ooh, I'm all better now. Now that you're doing worse because of the way I treated you, I'm all better now. Let's be happily ever after. I hate him. Oh, hi, it is after 11 p.m. Many days have passed. I'm sick, but I finished in Brood and Magic. That's the name of it. I'm gonna say 3.5 stars, which is what I rated the first one in the series, but I liked it more because I recognized the system that she goes with these books, in which the first, like, 20 to 25%, the male main character is horrible to the female main character, in ways that particularly bother me, right? And then something happens at an event. There's, like, usually some event or competition. Like, look at the synopsis for the 3rd one. This continues to be a theme. So this thing happens, and then they have to work together to fix it, or do it, or whatever. And through that, romance ensues. So I was like 10 to 15%, and he was really bothering me, Ragnar was, because I'm gonna call her Lil because I don't know how to pronounce her name. That is the nickname he gives her. He is stealing her better placement, using a similar name for his own tavern, making sure to get there before her to like steal her spot and all this stuff. So there's like people who are used to her being there and her better ale would buy his accidentally instead, because similar name and her normal location on purpose, right? And a bunch of other things in which like he's ruining her job. He's making her livelihood harder for his own benefit. And it pisses me off. It pissed me off. And then I realized, no, this is the system. And so because, in these books, right, and I just have to get through that part. Once I get through that part, I'm fine. And the fact that these books are very easy to read, despite the fact that, like, fires are happening constantly, and there's a part later on where she is kicked out because of the assumptions and prejudice against somebody else. It's a long story. So despite all this stuff, like, it is easy to read. Like, it's so easy to read that like, the first day I was reading it, I accidentally got to page 51, and I was reading for, like, 25 minutes. Like, it's easy to read. So getting through that first 25-ish%, usually a little less than that, because it's usually whenever we get his first POV is when it starts to die down, because usually when we get his first POV, we get more of his understanding why, and all this stuff. And so, like, the first 15% is the hardest, and then another 10% is a little difficult, and then it's easy peasy little cover girl. But the getting through that hump is easy because it's an easy read. Am I making sense? No. Anyways, the important thing that I need to tell you is that I think I accidentally, like, the wheel chose this. This isn't me. 4 books have to do with dragons. The first one, obvious. The first one's also gonna be obvious. Cough, cough, it's the other dragon book. I don't even know which one. The next two happen on the wheel at the same time. I might as well just do that clip at once because it's all in the same clip because they're both from the same person. Which is now QT Mouse. That's her name, right? I'm suddenly questioning what my wife's name is. She's one of my many wives on Twitch. Don't ask. There's a harem. There's a family tree. I call it the family wreath. We don't need to talk about it, okay? She did 10, so it was 2 at once. Right, technically it was 3 because it was like right after Annabis. It was this whole issue. So instead of like editing whichever one comes first, it makes more sense for me to read the other dragon one last, so it's sandwiched by dragons. Right, that was my thought process. But the third one, which I will talk about in a minute, is a sequel to. Technically, it's a demon romance. The first one was, but he was a demon, but he's also a dragon. So it's a sequel to a dragon Smut. And this one, he is, like, if you look at the cover of Brood and Magic, he has elf ears. This is apparently a spoiler, but I guessed it 5 pages in, and it's very obvious. Like, at one point he says he hadn't let his wings out in a while, and I went, oh, he's a fucking dragon. He's a dragon. Also, there's another dragon, and I don't know how this full-size fucking dragon is getting into small wagons and picking up barrels of ale one at a time. There's like 18, and they're in the center of town during this event. I don't know how nobody knows. Bella, you're click-clacking so much in the background. It's gonna be so fun for me to edit, because of you. Anyways, I don't know how that dragon did that. Anyways, Ryder is also a dragon. I guessed it 5 minutes in. Okay, I guessed it so early. The dragon, her dragon disappears, and then he shows up, and I go, he's either the same dragon, or just another dragon. Between the red hair and smelling like fire, she just assumed he was an elf with a little bit of fire demon genetics. Also, I love how everybody assumed, because he's part fire demon, he was the one who set a fire later on. I'm like, there's countless other fire demons here. And you're just choosing this one? Okay, this is for plot reasons. Anyways, yeah, no, apparently he was a dragon, and then in order to be protected, some orcs helped him and his brother out by taking them to a location in which they were able to, turn elvenoid, I guess, technically. So, like, they still have fire powers and all this stuff, but they're not, like, full-on dragon anymore, in order to hide from the evil king who was hunting down and killing dragons, right? So he's a dragon. The first one's a dragon, the second one's a dragon, the third one's a sequel to a dragon, and the fourth one's a dragon. This is accidentally me reading a bunch of dragons, but I didn't mean to do this. And I find this so funny. I literally was 5 minutes into this book and I went, I swear to God, this one is a dragon one as well. And it was. Anyways, time to talk about the third one. So, cue that clip editing me.
But also they, like, all, it's because they add up, right? Right. That's what I'm saying. Be happy you can't hear that. That's so loud in my ears. You know what? I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it. Oh my God, that's so loud. I'm not mad about it. That one is actually, I'm very excited for. So, thank you. I can't wait for them to eat a love potion and a werewolf with so many puns. It's gonna be great. Thank you so much for this, actually. I love it.
This one is That Time I Got Drunk and Eat a Love Potion and a Werewolf, I think is the full title of the second one. The first one is That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon, which I dropped a pen. The most important part of that one, I assume they're kind of standalone-y. The female main characters in these two are best friends, right? So that's how I know that her name in this one is going to be Bree. There's a very important reason I remember this, and that's, the main character of the first one's name is Cinnamon, because her family are people who are spice farmers. Like actual spice, not like allegory for drug spice. Oh, you're back, Bella, thank you. Bree is the cheese girl. Anyways, these are, like, really funny, punny books, right? Don't take too seriously. Like, the first one, she is forced to go on a quest with a demon after saving a demon accidentally, and there is, like, a bunch of, like, evil witches or something going on, but also, like, at the same time, he's just banging on a beach a bunch, right? I don't know the plot of this one. I assume, she accidentally, while drunk, throws a love potion, be like, I don't need you anyways, or something like that, and it hits a werewolf, and then she's in love with a werewolf, or the werewolf's in love with her, and she's gotta figure it out. And then I assume something happens where, like, secretly the love potion didn't work all along, or something like that, and he's actually in love with her. Anyways, this one, I may wait, because I do have access to the audiobook in, like, 2 days. Helen, please. It says Libby, the audiobook, should be available soon, and I do have this one, the next one. Libby available for audiobook. This is, like, shouldn't take too long. I do have other things I could read, so it's gonna be a few days before I read it. But they are also fast, easy, not too much plot. I mean, there's more plot in this than the, Falling for Fables, in Fables. the genital fart ones. There's more plot in these ones than that one, but also I think this one's author of color. Don't quote me on that, but I'm like 90% sure. So benefit, let's go. We got one. Thanks to the wheel. Anyways, somebody wants me to stop filming. I can't tell who. Well, I'm freaking cool. My dog's probably like that. But I finished that time I got drunk and needed a love potion at a werewolf. The fact I remember the whole title. Now it made be like, what's his name? I just remembered his name's Felix. Oh my god, that took so long. My brain kept on being like, Fallon. No, that's the dragon from the first one. Also, I was like, the third one is also a dragon one. And I'm pretty sure the female main character, like the synopsis doesn't say her name. And I was like looking at reviews, and apparently her name is a spoiler. I'm pretty sure I know who it is. Connected to the main character, Cinnamon from the first one. If you know, you know. So that's that. Also, Storycraft says there's gonna be a fourth one, but Goodreads doesn't, so I'm gonna ignore that until one comes out. But okay, here's my thing. 3 stars because of personal issues, right? But like it wasn't poorly written, and I liked it fine enough, and I read it all pretty easily. And it was a fun read. Kind of. We'll talk about it. I rated 3 stars. The first one I rated 4 stars, right? I think the third one is the one I would like the most, if I had to guess. But yes, I forget what I was gonna say. This is not how my brain works. I'm also sick. Anyways, this one is more smutty than Brood and Magic. I think. But I think what the first one was the dragon one. The first dragon one. I guess that one was more smutty, but I think in ratio, because this one is half as long as Hoarded by the Dragon, right? It's a little over 200 pages. Like, it's half as long of this 450 page book, right? And I think there was about the same amount of sex scenes. Maybe not, like, but it was, like, more wilder sex scenes. Like, those were pretty basic sex scenes. You would expect that to be said about a dragon smut. But this one was a werewolf smut, and it was crazier, and partially because there was tentacle stuff at one point. I don't want to explain. So, also, when defeating the big bad guy, because there is actually plot in the series, when defeating the big bad guy who's, like, inside her mind and whatnot, the way to get them to leave her mind, he starts explaining, because this is, like, sea monster, basically, essentially, but in order to like, it doesn't like the idea of monsters, she's, like, avid monster smut reader herself, so she starts explaining different tentacle kraken monster smuts to this monster god that's in the form of a tentacle monster, creeping it out until it leaves her head. I did laugh. Also, I can see people's enjoyment for Alexis. Alexis is a woman who is cursed into a sword. It's a long story. She is kind of funny. I don't think most of the humor is for me in this one, which is fine. The main issue I have is how the love potion came to be. I remember the first one, like, there was pretty heavy stuff about, like, a false god, and segregation, and, against, like, humans were, like, the looked upon good ones, and then any type of monster, was, like, kept away, in, like, a bad way, like, were tortured and whatnot, and persecuted by this god, this false god, and whatnot, and how false gods, and religion control people and stuff like that. Like, that was a whole aspect in the first one, but took it in seriousness for the most part. This one, let me just explain how the love potion, thing happened, how she yeeted a love potion at a werewolf. So, she's out drinking with Cinnamon and Fallon, who is the dragon from the first one. Cinnamon's her best friend, and the main character from the first one, right? She's out hanging out with them when her neighbor, I think his name is Jack, who has been sexually harassing her for years, is like, hey, like, we should get together, and she's like, no, I'm not into you, please leave me alone, right? And so she throws potatoes at him until he leaves and is like, okay, you drink. So, mostly because Fallon is there, and Fallon's like, hey, leave her alone. Cinnamon is just making jokes. This is the main issue. It's making light of it the whole time. Cinnamon, as I explain this, remember, Cinnamon is making jokes and taking it lightly. At one point, Bree is kidnapped by cultists. I will explain more about that later, because this is another point where it's taken lightly, where they're just all making jokes as this is happening. And I have issues. This is like, I get it, because it's supposed to be like a lighthearted fantasy, right? Like, it's cozy, fancy, smutty book, so you don't, like, want to be too serious, but if that's the case, don't put serious topics in it. But like, it's like she wanted to put serious talks in it, but she also wanted it to be like a cozy, smutty romance, and instead it's just like, it just feels like it doesn't take it seriously. Anyways, eventually, also, an orc shows up who's a friend of Cinnamon's, right? This is important. These 2 men in this room are Fallon, a dragon. Apparently all these creatures, all these shifters are demons, and then their specific type of demon is what they shift into, so dragon. That's how it works. Similar with werewolves. Werewolves are demons, but they turn into wolves, blah, blah, blah. And then there's this orc that she has just met, like, 5 seconds ago, okay? Who is a friend of Cinnamon's, right? He meets her, is all like, hi, friend. Jack shows up. Again, trying to force her to take this drink. Guess what? He drugged her. Or he's trying to drug her. But it doesn't work. Because she gets really pissed at him being really forceful in her face, trying to get this to happen. Everyone's, like, still right there making jokes, mainly Cinnamon. I'm like, girl, this is your best friend. What the fuck are you on? And, right? And so he pisses her off, so she takes the drink that is drugged with this love potion and throws at him. He ducks and hits the werewolf, right? Then they quickly realize what he's drugged her with is a love potion, and they go, not Cinnamon, Fallon, and this man she just met. Other man. She also just met the Felix, the werewolf, who's all up in her business because he was just hit with a love potion, right? So the orc that she's just met and Fallon are like, oh my god. This orc met her less than 5 minutes ago, already throws Jack on the ground and holds him down until she can decide what to do with him because this man just tried to drug her to force her into a marriage with him so that he can have her land. And Cinnamon is making jokes. Anyways, this is like the first chapter. I would like to bring this up. Okay. She's all like, yeah, like, don't kill him, but like, I would like him to be punished for it. So Fallon's like, okay, and the two of them go out to punish this man that they have not really met before, right? For trying to take away a woman's choice. We love that. Cinnamon making jokes. Felix goes, hey, I just met you and you are my mate, and I am love potioned. I'm gonna go help beat up this guy. Right? Now, near the end of the book, this is where we get a little bit of spoilers. We learn where Jack got this love potion from is, there's also been like a thing where a bunch of single girls in their early 20s have been kidnapped. So there's this whole thing where Felix forces the church to marry them without her even there to sign the paperwork herself so that she's not a single woman anymore. And I have issues with that. We're breezing right past that. It's not even, she's pissed off initially, and then it's just like breeze past. They never, once everything's fixed, they don't even bring it up again. I guess they're just married. Except she didn't even go to her own wedding. Anyways, it's these cultists who are a bunch of, they're essentially just middle-aged white human men pissed off that the women, don't want to date them or marry them, and now there's a bunch of demons around who, treat them with respect. Right, because they've had this whole issue where they haven't had, like, the false god killed all their women, so now there's women, and there's options, and they're like, okay, let's treat them well, so that they choose us, and so that now the human men aren't getting chosen, and it's the male loneliness epidemic, that's what's happening. And so they kidnap a bunch of women to steal their magic to bring back a god so that they can force women to be mothers and wives and bring order back to humanity. That is what happens. That's what's happening, and she is kidnapped by these cultists, and again, joke being made. Some of them, in the moment, when it's just them and the group of women who have been kidnapped, it isn't, like, I'm fine with it. Like, it's making light of a moment that's, like, very traumatic. Like, they're having to kill people and she's freaking out, and there's a talking sword who's also a woman, and all this stuff. But then once the friends show up to rescue them, it's more of a, like, lighthearted thing again. Also, this is the point where we have to bring up that Felix bites her without asking, turning her into a werewolf, and it's also briefed by, like, she's more mad that she thinks that he doesn't love her anymore after the removal of the love potion, and that they're not mates. The biting, and I'm... Anyways, as you can tell, a bunch of serious stuff happens in this book, but it's all made light of, and it makes me feel weird. 3 stars. Yeah, that's my review. We gotta talk about the fourth one, the next one, the last one.
So, spin 4. We still haven't got the one I really want. Either one of the ones I really want. They're now right next to each other. You know what? Yeah. Hell yeah. This is a reread for me, but that's because it's been like 5 years. Okay, it's been 5 years. And I want to reread it before the rest of the series. This is the one where he has 2 dinglings. I know, right? I'm so mad too. I'm mad for us. Mousy. Anyways, yeah, he has 2 dinglings, so that's what this one is. That's what you got. It would have been so funny if it landed on Psycho Shifters. Oh my god, that would have been hilarious.
I don't know how any of these, I don't remember which one was actually pulled first, if it was the werewolf one or the Dragon's Bride, but how do I pull it up? I know it's the Dragon's Bride, also by Mousy, we talked about this. The Dragon's Bride, which by Katie Robert. There might not be a queer book. Actually, I say that Felix was bisexual. He had relationships with men before, so we love that. Anyways, at least queer author. I'll take that. This one, you may be like, oh, what the fuck? Yes, I have read this one before, but it's long enough ago where I remember basically nothing. Also, the one thing I did remember about this is why I was side-eyeing Hoarded by the Dragon, because I know for a fact that one came out after this one, because the year that it came out was after I read this one. Right. Yeah, he has 2 dinglings, and every time I bring this up to Mousy's like, I need to read this book. So yes, you do. Because this is, I mean, I guess I did like the first in the Mead Mishaps series, that time I got drunk series, but I think this is like the book that got me really into Monster Smut, because I've read like bad Monster Smut before this, but this was like the first good one I had read. So we love that for me. Now, what is this? There is, what I remember, I don't remember much. There is a demon who makes a deal with a bunch of human women where there are magical creatures that need mates, right? And so he makes deals with these human women where they will get what they want after a certain amount of time, right? And and this is the whole entire rant about me and that time I got drunk is and about how it doesn't take serious topics seriously. And you may be like, but it's such a short book. We're about to get to serious topics here with this one, okay? And it does take it seriously, and it is the same length, around the same length. So shut. Anyways, It was important, okay? So they get what they want, whether it's money, security, safety, whatever. If they spend a certain amount of time with their magical creature, though if they are harmed in any way that they are not into, that they do not agree to, if something non-consensual of any kind happens, right? They are the contract is already done. They get what they want immediately and can go home, and they're no longer need to be a mate, right? That's essentially what happens. The female main character in this one is bought by a dragon. Now, we're going to bring up the fact that the dragon, Hoarded by the Dragon, turns human. He has scales most of the time, but he's like basically human with scales, okay? The Valen, in That Time I Got Drunk, turns into a human. He's a shifter, technically. This guy, you can see the cover, is a dragon. The two things I mainly remember about this is that he has two dinglings, and that kissing him is difficult, because he's a dragon. And you know what? We really love how Katie Robert really goes full hard. She just goes full force with it. Listen, we love Katie in this house. Anyways, so that is happening. The other main thing I remember is that the female main character in it is doing this to get out of her abusive relationship situation, whatever is happening there. And it is taken with full seriousness, and it's this admittedly serious, not serious, this admittedly funny concept happens. There's a serious aspect in it that is also important to the story, is taken seriously while she is fucking a dragon with 2 penises. I'm like, right? I don't remember much about, I think there's one with a demon, or I know there's a succubus one. And I think there's a demon one, and the demon one may be the one with a girl with religious trauma. I remember that being one, and we want to really read that because I trust Katie Robert in that. I don't trust most people, but I trust Katie Robert. Okay, Katie Robert gets it. Katie Robert understands me. But also, this is where we get really funny, because I read in this video a dragon smut. The other sandwiching of this dragon smut, I don't understand how dragon smut became very important in this whole entire video. They're like a main thing. If I had read the second That Time I Got Drunk earlier, and so this was the third one, it would have all been dragon smut, and that is so funny to me. Okay. Anyways, the other dragon smut I read, it was a sequel to a kraken smut I really liked, but I didn't like the dragon smut. This one is a dragon smut that I already know I like. I rated it 4 stars the first time I read it. And the sequel, the second book, is kraken smut. So I don't know why I haven't picked it up sooner, and whatnot. It's because I hadn't read the kraken smut I had read, and didn't know I would like that. I thought I would be grossed out. No. Anyways, this has been 20 minutes of me explaining why I didn't really like I felt mad about a book, and I'm excited to read the next book because I know it does the opposite. And I'm excited to read it. I'm gonna go read it right now, actually. So goodbye. I'll talk to you in like 3 hours max. I do have the audiobook on the B, so it's gonna take me 3 hours max. Goodbye. Oh hi. This is gonna be the fastest ending to a vlog ever because my dinner's ready and I want to eat it. I want to eat it, but I just finished the Dragon's Bride. Apparently the first time I read it, rated it 3.5. I upped it to 4. Up to 4. As far as I know, that is the highest I will ever rate a monster smut. But what I consider the magnum opus, which is the Kraken one I've talked about a billion times in this video. I liked the story of this one better, and it like takes half as much space. Like it's half as long as that one. And this one is around par, right? Like I liked the one, the Kraken one, a little bit more at points, but this one I like more in general. They have a lot of similar tropes in general. Like there's even pregnancy pendants, and this one came out after that one, so maybe that's a thing. And whatnot. The main complaint I have is about not the main demon that they make the deal with, but one of his personal assistants or whatever who runs around and like checks on all the girls. I really don't like. Their whole thing is antagonizing the men to piss them off. I assume like it's something to see, because if any harm comes to the girls at all, the contract is void and their territories go to the demon, right? And so I guess it's like a test to see what happens when the demon's not there. I guess that's what could be said, but near the end of the book, there's a whole thing where in a scene, he ends up ripping off her pregnancy pendant, like anti-pregnancy pendant, because her mindset is, part of the deal is that if they end up getting pregnant, after the 7 years that the contract is, the child stays there, and they return home. It's not brought up that you have a choice to stay there after that 7 years, until after all this, so she doesn't want to have a kid to then have to leave it behind. Valid, and he's doing it because, humans have more overall magic, which is also a similar thing to the Kimberly Lemming? I think that's the author of that book, which Katie Roberts recently got into, which is very funny. Not the sliding. Anyways, what was I gonna say? See, this is what happens. My brain stops working when I'm sick sometimes, halfway through filming. Blah, blah, contract, 7 years, I have to leave the child behind. She doesn't want to do that. Oh yeah, humans have more magical role, but it's harder for them to use it personally. So breeding with humans, which is why this is the explanation why all these magical creatures, even the Kraken, is more humanoid than they initially would be instead of like a full-blown dragon. Because of breeding with humans in the past, when it was easier to get between worlds, now it's harder, only bargaining demons can do that. And that's my dinner. And because of the human magic, if you breed with a human, the child is more powerful, and that's important for him and his lands because in about 2 generations worth, which is about like 300 years, if they don't have like if they don't breed with humans, then the field will stop, like all the growth and whatnot of fields will stop being as I want to say fruitful, but I don't know if that's the actual word I'm thinking of. Which is like an issue because that's what feeds everybody, right? So that's why he's doing it. He quickly falls in love with her. I didn't remember that she was like literally had run away from her abusive husband, and he found her and almost killed her at the point of her making the demon deal, which is the first chapter. I do appreciate before, like normally it's like once you sign a contract and the 7 years are up, that's when you get your thing. But he's like, I'll do yours right now though, because it's beneficial to him if her husband doesn't think that she's missing, and tries to come get her. And her thing is his death. Iconic. Anyways, she's dealing with the trauma of that, and like there's also this whole parallel thing of like he's the monster on the outside, meanwhile her bad husband is a monster on the inside. The whole reason why she's the dragon's bride is because for it to be a legitimate heir, it has to be through marriage. So she, during the 7 years she's married. Anyways, I was bringing up the pendant thing because he rips off. The contract doesn't say, hey, this is bad, but the demon does say, hey, this is bad. And then so she's trying to explain to him, hey, this is not what you think it is, and he tells her to, after kidnapping her, stealing her away, and he says, calm down to her, and then acts surprised when she gets even angrier. And then the other demon who, the assistant demon, is all like, you do need to calm down though, and so drugs her, and then it's just never brought up. That's like my main complaint. He like drugs her, and then cut to the next scene where Soul the dragon shows up, and she explains everything, and they learn that she could stay there indefinitely, happily ever after. They will have children one day when she's done healing emotionally for the most part, and they're more of a couple over time, and she's gonna help him rule. The end. 4 stars. For Monster Light, it's really good. I do want to continue the series really bad. I think there's 5 books. Because there's like 4 groups. There's Dragon, there is Succubi, there is Kraken's the next one, there's a Gargoyle one. I can't believe I'm gonna read a Gargoyle Smut again. The first one was horrible that I've ever read, which was another Lillian Lark. There's so many books in that series. But then also the demon who made the main demon that made the bargains with all of them, she was one of the girls for himself. She's like the most scared of everything, and he's all like, this was fine. Anyways, shout out to the cover because it's gorgeous. I want to eat my dinner, so goodbye. Thank you to all the people from the thank you to everybody from the Twitch stream. Hey, did you know I streamed not much this month because I've been sick? I need please. But that's fine. Wednesdays are normally gaming videos from streams. Saturdays are booktube like this. But somebody has another booktube video planned for Wednesday specifically for that day. And also for the last month of the year, who knows what my schedule is gonna be? I do have to figure that out, but it's always gonna be something chaotic because I have so many bookish videos planned. So who knows? The end. Goodbye. Thank you for coming to the video. If you stayed this far, comment 2 eggplants because he has 2. So that's the right thing.